This morning I'm talking with Howard Storey, and at this point I'd usually had one or two creative areas that he works in, but it's all very confusing, and until this morning I didn't really know what he gets up to, but more of that later. We met for the first time, wait for it, October 2018.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And you were one of the very first strangers I ever walked up to and asked to photograph. Interesting. At the time, you were wearing a bright red wool coat and a yellow Rupert the Bear scarf. Do you remember it?
I do remember it,
Yeah. He had an American-style electric bike.
Yes, yeah.
So not your average Scouse bloke.
No.
By any means. It was the first and for a long time the only electric bike I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
At the time he told me you were involved in local radio in some shape or form. Since then we've bumped into each other many times. Bull Street several times.
That's the place.
Yeah, Lush.
Yes.
Yeah. When you were working there. And Lime Street Station.
Yes, yeah, with my mum.
With your mum.
Last month photos, I was looking at it only yesterday.
And it was just nice to be able to give you that photograph
Yeah.
as part of the process. Okay, so we're into the questions now, and should we get the Howard thing out of the way?
Yeah.
So how many Howards have you met?
I usually have to have them seen to, but I like you, so you can stick about. Probably about, in my lifetime, about 6, I think, yeah. You're the only Howard in my phone now, I have to
Really?
say.
That's good. So, and I haven't met many either. The last conversation I had with a Howard, I think I was at university, so we're...
How long ago was that?
50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good name. I actually enjoy it. When they use it in films, if somebody's called Howard in a film, they'll use it a lot because I think it's a good name to say. I like it. Do you like it?
I do now. Growing up, I wasn't over thrilled with it because it was a bit different.
Yeah, a little bit.
But marketing, yeah.
Aspirations.
Yeah, I think possibly that's where it came from.
Leslie Howard, Ashley Wilkes, Gone with the Wind, Howard Ashley Storey.
Right.
Yorkshire lad, actually, not a Scouser.
And in one of the conversations that we had, the Lord's Prayer came up.
Oh yeah.
So do you want to go talk about that experience as a child?
Well, the kids used to say it around us, because that's what we thought it said,
Yeah, so hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name,
And for years it spooked me.
Yeah.
Every time I heard it in assembly. And
you thought it too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think all Howards do, this is the thing, because the Howards I've met, we've had that discussion.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've got friends now that are younger than me that said they used to say it anyway, but they weren't saying it to a Howard. They were just, saying, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sticks with the Howards, man.
Yeah,
It's the special name.
So I'm quite happy with Howard now.
Me too.
There's a Howard Jackson who was an absolutely top flight martial artist in America. He's dead now, but
wow.
And then there was a Howard Jackson who was a big sort of psychiatrist as well.
Wow.
But
Lovely.
Very few and far between. So
Howards.
So that's the Howard thing.
Just a few more. Quite a few interesting famous Howards, like Howard Carter. The Egyptian, the find in the 20s.
Oh, right.
So you got Howard Hughes, of course, the famous billionaire recluse.
Well, and Howard Jones. Often I get called Howard Jones.
Are you Howard Jones?
Yeah.
Do you remember Jez, his little dancer fella with his mental chains, like plastic kind of chains?
Yeah.
He took this kind of mime artist with him called Jez that used to dance alongside his spiky haired sing-alongs.
Yeah. I quite liked him. What creative areas do you work in?
At the moment...
we've only got an hour.
All right, okay. It's kind of... I married my best mate years ago, like 32 years ago this week. And we've been married for a long time. And when COVID happened, we just had loads of time. So we started to create these kind of mid-century modern rooms, interestingly coloured furniture. We'd change them all around, and then you put famous people into them. And we make them like collage, print them out, cut them out. And we created these worlds basically. And we've done 200 pieces, We've had, I think we're on our 5th show. We had 4 shows in Germany, one in Hamburg, one in Lunenburg, and one on the Isle of Silt. And they were the Germans seem to love it. A lot of German doctors are into it.
Leave the German stuff for a minute because I've got a question about
All right,
that
okay.
later on. Yeah, so
Collage.
is that
That's
your
the
big
medium
thing?
we have chosen to
Right, chosen
project
medium.
our creativity, our want, as it were, of late, of the last. Yeah, it's been 4.5 years since COVID, hasn't it? It's just such a long time, but it's gone quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So that you make these sort of the pieces, sort of collage pieces. What do you do with them?
They're cut out like traditional cut and paste to begin with. We've taken other avenues with them. There's like maybe 3 different avenues now. One of it, image of it, will be a painting. We painted in lots of different kind of like blacklight colours and sprinkles and what have you. Some are hybrids, so some are bits cut through to holographic windows. For instance, there's one with all the Beatles in Jar Jar Gabbar's house in a sunken bath while it's on LSD. John and George.
Like you do.
Yeah, like you do.
Yeah.
So there's what was the point I was making there? Oh yeah, that's got a window. It's actually a mirror cut out. That is David Crosby from '65. Like everything.
Well, yeah.
So everything in the room's period. So all the magazines that are laying about records and everything, will all be from that period when they were staying at Jar Jar Gabbar's house. You know, in the hills. You know, Benedict Canyon, was it? If memory serves.
Hollywood Hills, right?
Yeah. And it's like second time, and like Paul, you know, but I don't want to do it because it changes you know. He's a bit like that, and he shut off, and he was with Peggy, this actress. So he sat off with her and listened to Dylan and rolled joints and what have you. So we created these. There's no photographs of these things, but we know the mythology.
Yeah.
You know, we knew Robert Whittaker, who was on every tour with them, and you know Klaus, we know, and Esther and everything. So we are kind of a bit in that world. So we're creating pictures of things that happened. I'll just use the Beatles as an example. There's 3 of those. It's where they met Fonda, and George was, I think I'm dying, you know. So put him in the pool, and like John, he's feeling better in the pool, and John is this guy, long-haired guy, go, hey, I know what it's like to be dead, man. And he wrote She Said from it. So we made that moment the mythology. So we made the pool and everyone in it, and who was there was all Dr. Eleanor Bron was there, Mel Evans, you know, all these people that we knew were there are all in the pictures as well. So they're cut and paste, and then if they go any further, they get bigger, and they'll have a holographic something in it. They're nuanced in a way, like lasagna of things is going on. There's stories and things, and me and Honey Story, my best mate, who's amazing at this thing, we come together and we never write anything down. We just create this world, and it went straight onto paper, and we created 200 pieces, and 100 of them have gone. They've been bought by galleries that have then archived them and things. So that's quite. And
so is that how you make your living then?
I don't make a living at all. We're completely we seem to be just on the breadline all the way, but everyone is, man.
Yeah.
I think we need to feel like this a little bit longer, just when this takes off, you know, we remember what it's like to, you know, be wondering if it's beans or an egg we're having this morning.
Next question then is, where did your creativity come from?
I suppose my grandfather was a famous clown. He had his own travelling show called Merry Mascots. He played the London Palladium before the First World War, and his catchphrase was, never judge a chicken by the spots on its sparking plug. And I tried to work out all my childhood what that might mean. So that's kind of
Did
it.
you get
That's
anywhere with that then?
I did, yeah. That was the spark. That was what the creation began, you know. I created this, my dad called me Cosmo. It was a nickname, because I like Cosmo Brown, you know, who did the flip in We're Singing in the Rain, just singing in the rain. Yeah, not the Clockwork Orange version, but yes, call me Cosmo. And then Cosmo had a show, used to do this little puppet show and stuff, and little acts and stuff, and he had two alter egos. One was Little Leslie, who was a very posh boy and everything, and he rode around on a penny farthing. I can, you know, I did a little top hat and rode around, you know, past through the neighbourhood, past the flats and that. Got rolled up in a lino once by some bigger boys. But what was I going to say?
Grandad.
Yeah. And the other was Hovis, like a little working class kind of I'm 6, 7. But yeah, it was all to do with knowing that I didn't even know properly about my grandfather. I didn't get proper told about that for many years. But it was, yeah, it's all from that. He was treating the show. He'd take a show out, you know, and even when, you know, wartime was like equivalent COVID or whatever, he would do holidays from home. So he'd get a troupe of Pyros together in a piano, and they'd fill the road up with sand and that. And people would come out in deck chairs and pay a penny each, and they'd do the show there in the street, you know, like. So yeah, he was always putting in a Mach-Show, as they say in Germany. He was always making a show. And he also had a lot of illegitimate kids, my dad being one, and he probably sadly might have broke up some marriages, but ended up with these kids, you know, from these escapades of his. So he took the kids on the road with him, with my auntie and uncles and what have you, and he was trying to make them into this show. Tried to make my Uncle Richard, rather rotund gentleman, a bit like Oliver Hardy, tried to make him into the next singing cowboy, and he'd be getting the chords wrong, and he'd rap him on the knuckles with this silver knob cane, which I own to this day, you know, this like silver knob cane probably holds some sort of power and all that, but I don't know where creativity comes from. Well, we just do it all the time. We can't stop doing it.
And you mentioned your grandmother as well.
Oh yeah, she was. She put her head in a lion's mouth. You know, she was an actual animal trainer. So she lost a lot of her horses to the war because they were really old. That was Mildred Clarkson, and he was Jan Silverton Torrey Storey. You know, so they had all these. Acts and things. What would he do? He dressed my dad up exactly the same. There'd be two Scotsmen. My dad would be like 8 when he'd be up here, but they were dressed the same, and they'd sing, "We are two twins and no mistake, the twins we've always been. If we were twins, they wouldn't be the fact that's plainly seen. We've been together since we were born, except when we're apart. So now we told you who we are, we're going to make a start." And then the kid would sing, "This morning at 10 o'clock last night, we wanted to have some fun. We went out shooting rabbits, but we hadn't got a gun," etc. Okay. And that was like their act for a very long time. My dad started on stage in his mum's arms when he was like about 5 months old. He had this act called the Statue, and it was like an art gallery with a statue in the back. And my grandmother had a big hat on and a big lovely dress and everything, and she had a baby in her arms. She was walking through the art gallery out in front of the stage, and the two guys had come on and started cleaning up around it, and they knocked the statue onto the floor and it smashed into a load of pieces. And then the curtains would close, she'd do the chorus of the song, and then the curtains would open and the statue would have a leg up here, an arm up here. And so it continued until the statue was made, but my dad was so he was taken on the road. He was like brought up by this kick line.
So you mentioned a couple of people, but already references have come from all over the place, different genres, different disciplines. So where did you get that, if you like, grounding in creativity across the board?
What you mean, like, by grounding, what do you mean, Howard?
Well, you're talking about, you're referring to different things, different sort of types of art.
Yeah, I think
Germany,
This is something, like each piece that we do with the storybook land art that we do, to keep it going, so not to repeat ourselves, we've got to come at it with a different kind of aspect, like, all right, this is going to be like Dali-esque or whatever, so it's going to be like, you know, a kind of, how can I explain it? There's a lot of collage artists that are out there. 99% of it I hate, but the good stuff is amazing, you know, because you're challenged every time you get a blank or something, and you can go in from anything. This day and age, any angle of a cushion you might want from a certain period, because you'll find it somewhere on the net for sale, so you've got angles with it. Or the kind of clothes you want them to wear, you can go anywhere. You could go back to Carnaby Street. We go into catalogues, so you might get like a Shining scene, and it's Jack Nicholson, but they're shopping, you know, and they're in catalogue clothes that we've taken from the actual catalogue that Kubrick used to dress, because we had it as a present. It's a Sears catalogue from like '78, you know, that he used to dress the whole thing with. So that's this. How can I explain? Peter Blake kind of had this thing, you know, where he could create.
Another reference, down.
You know, yeah. So that was a draw with me, and I was into Gilliam, Like Monty Python was my favourite show. I was like 6 years again. It was on TV in like 71.
I was thinking
72.
about Monty Python when I was out with the dog yesterday.
Man, they're all skinned, you know. They're the Beatles of comedy, and they're all skinned. They're all like,
not John Cleese.
he's skinned, man. His wife took him for 27 mil, man.
I'd forgotten.
He's an angry old man.
Yeah, not very funny.
Skinned. He's a sad and angry old man, and he's not very funny anymore.
No, it's a shame. Yeah. So when you do your collages, does that involve a lot of research before you start, or
we're like collectors. So me and Honey have like collected all this information and stories and mythology and a lot of pop culture. And she's very American from her end, you know.
Yeah.
She's also like a grandmother was a Native American Indian, so she's got that edge of stuff as well. Like, so there is a magic with all of this, but yeah, we do approach it as like different artists. Rather than slip an artist in who's just done a painting within it, you know, to give it a meta kind of quality. There's one in Picasso in a kind of he's in a helmet, it's like a biker helmet and an apron, and he's just painted on the wall this picture that's also another picture. It's like there's a correlation that runs through it, and we're like two sets of cards, you know, like, and they come together. It's like shuffling them all together, and going like that, bam. And then you've just got this new thing that's like born out of it. We don't write anything down. It's all just in the area, the space of the room and everything.
The way you describe it, it sounds like an LSD trip. Not that I've had one, but...
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that if we'd ever done anything as crazy as LSD, we might have actually put one together and sold it in Germany.
We talked about your influences and your grandparents, but when did it actually kick off, the whole sort of creative process for you?
Well, I started making birthday cards when I was like 3, you know, like whatever. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Drawing, and then I started to make pop-up ones, you know, and so I'd like always kind of look forward to it. I'd make my mum a Mother's Day card every single year, right until she died, and I'd make her a birthday card as well. And then they were really elaborate, kind of pop-up, and you know, some might have lit up on Meadow Noise or something. And every time she'd say, "Oh, that's lovely. You should sell these. You could get £5 for that." Every single year, and then my heart just sunk. It was like the worst thing. I think I was like 3.
You've given her your heart, and
I was
she
like
was
3 days
for a £5.
Yeah, 3 days thinking about it. You know, probably like 4 hours making it. You know, and then it cost about £8 to get it printed. You know, and she's like, "Yeah, you could get a £5 for this every time, man." And she'd see my little heart sinking. She'd go, "Oh no, £10." You know. So yeah, she was quite unsupportive in that kind of arena. But my dad was amazing.
Just go back to the pop-up books, because I'm a bit older than you, but pop-up books were a big deal.
Oh man,
quite exciting back in the 60s.
Incredible. Did you have the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang one from like 72? My dad bought us one each. That was how cool he was. Like, he made sure we got one each rather than arguing over it, and the whole car popped up and caves and stuff. It was great. The catacombs.
The more used they were, you used to get a bit tired, and they'd stick so that you
exactly. Got a brilliant. We've got two really. We've got 3 good ones. One's a film one. It's got King Kong going and hitting the planes, and it's got like Casablanca with the piano. You know, like there's a Beatle one, and the end you open it up and on the rooftop, and a little thing plays. Get back. Is it Hey Jude maybe or something? And the other one's Elvis.
Yeah.
So,
good. Yeah, so pop-up books is the...
Love pop-up books, man. Pop-up books were very, especially, I've made loads of pop-up stuff. Cards and that.
Yeah. So that was the start of it, and then how did things develop, maybe in sort of senior school and...
Well, I was prone to kind of hysterics and, you know, fits and stuff, and I used to have to be put out of a room now and again. And
was that attention deficit, as it was?
I don't know what it was. I'd get hallucinations at night and like hearing them and everything. So I ended up with doctors and stuff, like
so you
analysing me.
Neurodiverse.
Yeah. So like scattered sleep patterns. I've also got bipolar disorder on top of it.
Right.
Which is partly why the creativity has to be done. It's like a self-medicating kind of thing for me, at least. You know.
Yeah.
To have this. Because it's a constant list, you know, it's a subject. I also sing, so I've had records out and things like that. We just recorded another album.
We'll come on to that in a...
Yeah. My 2 psychiatrist friends, must mention that. But I don't know. What's the question? Where's creativity come from?
Yeah, and no, the journey. So I'm sort of interested how you fitted in at school.
Yeah, I seem to be liked, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose, even as I had a motorcycle accident when I was 7, like, you know, and I used to,
You weren't right.
I used to get my dad, yeah, of course I was, yeah. And I had 2, I had another one when I was like 8, and I had like a couple of weeks off school, and but my dad used to make me, I wanted a leather jacket, you know, so he'd make me a leather jacket, like, or he made me like a Evel Knievel suit in black, you know, with like red stars on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of accidents when I was dead young, you know, before I even went to middle school, and so I got this reputation as well, and everybody thought my dad,
child.
like a what?
A wild child.
Or like you know, and I was always like, but actually I ended up being quite shy after that, you know.
Uh-huh.
I think middle school made me a bit shy. It was like change. I was like the king of primary school. Mr. Perry was amazing. He was like a magician. He gave me a puppet that little Leslie used in his act, like, you know. So he was great. But yeah, it was funny. It was really like a dream, all that, you know. I was like having these dreams about I guess my granddad and everything. Like I got chatting to my dad about it, and he went into a bit more detail, you know. I was telling him what was happening.
But all of those dreams sparking off sort of
creative,
artistic.
Yeah, like a creative artistic thing. Yeah, of course, it's your imagination, or it's your brain that's just on. So there was this guy in a kind of cape with a hat and everything, and he was like chasing me through these kind of very like circus fairground kind of places, you know. And like, yeah, these went on for a while, like, but I talked to my dad about it, and my mum says, it's because you're watching Penelope Pitstop. It's like the Hooded Claw, she said, you know, stop watching cartoons, blah, blah, blah. I never did, still watch them now. But yeah, my dad started telling me about his dad, you know, with the top hat and the cape and everything, and walking him around to the cinema and whipping back the curtain and going, where is the lady with the lamp, you know, and so that, it's been, that I can remember being that kid, you know, little monkey bike and like my dad's like pinball machines in the house, and summer holidays just being full of things, and he'd have artistic things around, you know, like still got my grandfather's banjolele and his mandolin and a few other things like waistcoat and stuff and hat, magical properties.
Tell me about the next bit then. How old were you when you left school?
16, like, you know, it's kind of a weird end really, because my brother Richard actually got killed when halfway through my last year of school, like, you know, he got in a motorcycle accident and he died on the 20th. We were huge Beatle fans, you know, playing them backwards, forwards and everything. The name of the road he had his accident on was Abbey Road, and he died 13 years to the day that Abbey Road was released. And like, my great grandfather was like killed in the Somme on the same day, and it was just felt this day it was like I was kicking about, like, so interesting.
Yeah.
Abbey Road, you know, like 26th of September, like
just spooky.
I like them. I like coincidences. I live on Great Howard Street, at the top of Great Howard Street, next to Leeds Street. I think all this is kind of probably like a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're probably laughing at this right now. I'm thinking, oh.
Right, so you lost your brother when you were...
I was 15, and I went goth. Much to my dad's chagrin, like, you know.
Was that a reaction or just...
I don't know, no, it was like, you know, I was into subcultures and like the artistic kind of thing that people would jazz up clothes to wear to being a thing, you know. You know, like the psychedelic period on mods and rockers and all of this punk, and you'd see all these kind of subcultures, really. There is creation being put into themselves now, like creating an image for people to attract the same kind of a person or whatever. It just speeds up the social.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have Facebook or whatever. We didn't have MySpace in those days.
Yeah. Did you stay goth for some time?
Yeah, man, like probably 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I met some cool cats who kind of dressed in 40s gear and that. And my dad had a bunch of my dad's kind of 50s, you know, gear and that, sort of ties and that. I had all my hair cut, I had a quiff.
Yeah.
And like listening to Morrissey, you know, like in tweed and shit, pantaloons, I don't know. So yeah, bit of that.
And then after that?
oh man, after that, what happened? I don't know, just trying to be a dandy, innit? I've never really had a normal situation, you know. I can't seem to be like caged. It's hard, it's difficult, it drives me a bit crazy.
Okay, let's go on to another question then. And we've touched it, we've talked about influences, but what inspires you? What really gets you working, moving, thinking, doing?
It depends what it is. Sometimes it's like just plucked out there. Musically, with my doing music, are we talking about music here? Or
no.
Is that another thing? Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a
sometimes it's just saying something. Yeah, this is a key player. This collage thing, you know. I didn't mean to put shade on anybody else's collage work, but it's like the simplicity and the beauty of it is you can think of a person, a thing, and a situation like that, and you can just put them in your head, and you're already starting the next piece or whatever.
Where does that come from? That
I think there's just a lot of stuff just flying around, isn't there? And something might remind you, I don't know, Harry Seacombe or something, or you might just think of, I don't know, Orson Welles, like when he at his best, like, but he's driving a bus or something. You know what I mean? So it's to trigger off these. You know, I've got this Sevs connection with the north of England in the Sevs. You know, like, because I remember it. It's my first kind of. So the 70s, you know, the 70s, back in the Sevs.
Hip lingo.
Yeah. Sevs guy, you know what I mean? We got everything wrong in the Sevs, you know, the creativity and the wonderment and the artistry of the 60s, you know, everything went into colour, stereo, and you know, all the trippers and hey man, let's all do it. It was like a bunch of flowers getting pulled out of a clown sleeve or something, you know. If the clown was all dressed in grey at a funeral, that's what needed to happen, you know. This thing. You get the 50s and you got all that post-war optimism, and you can see it in art and design. You can see in America, you can see the points on stuff, and there's this idea of the space age coming. We're all going to be wearing silver, or you know, all this stuff. We actually cancelled all that out by, celebrating it years before it could be. You know, even Jules Verne back in like the 19th century talking about the idea of the great out there and unknown. You know, and there is. We're not alone. Like, we're alone. You know, look at this thing. It's infinitesimal. Of course, there's other things out there, and they're doing the same sort of thing. Surely, we're not. You know, we're part monkey and we're part God, aren't we? And we're just having to get on with it, and we've done a pretty good job, I think. You know.
Like that, part monkey, part God. Okay, right. Moving on then, I get the impression that you enjoy collaborating with people. So you've talked about your wife.
Yeah.
In other areas that you work in. So what about the collaborative process? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Choose your partners wisely is what I'd say, you know. Make sure there's a good balance and a good exchange of ideas, and make sure the idea is getting better when it comes back to you.
Yeah.
You know, not just the same or worse. It's and I've, you know, find people with a pedigree in music, if it's music you're talking about. Because the people I do music with are excellent and amazing at what they do, and they're into so many things. We look for magpies in people that you work with. People that have got a lot of different interests, so you can come at a thing at a different angle. You can change the sound or play it slower, or, you know, have everything open up to a discussion, and a discussion that you'd look forward to having, not a discussion that would put you off doing anything else with these people. So.
Right. Moving on to, you were working on an album at the start of this year. I'm guessing that you might be difficult to manage.
I'm not, no. I'm fluid, yeah, definitely.
Really?
I'm not difficult at all, no. I'm trying to work on the best possible version of myself to prepare myself to move forward. I do a lot of meditation, like mindfulness. I'm in a group, you know. It's really good, you know. I've been in and out of hospital. I've spent nearly a year in hospital, like for bipolar, and for it just taking over and me not being allowed out in.
Is that recently or?
No, it's like 5 times from 89 to like 2004.
Right.
Sprinkled over that period. You know, just when things get too much but it's incredible. It's the most creative possible place you can go to. It's when I'm in an episode, I feel so alive and so full of ideas, and so like I want to dance, I want to sing, but I don't want to go to bed, and that's the problem. I don't want to eat.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, you know, and it can go on for days and days and days, and I'll just, you know,
I've heard
wake up
Stephen
in
Fry
hospital.
talk about that, say I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Exactly, yeah. I'll go along with Stephen Fry. He's like the queen of this bipolar empire, like. So.
Yeah.
And he's did a show about it, and I watched it with my mum to try and make her understand it a bit more. And she was just going, ooh, like this. Well, you're not like this. You don't have this anymore. It's like,
You're cured.
Yeah, you're cured, you know. So it was never a topic of discussion with her or anything like so. But anyway,
Okay.
woo! Wonderful people around me. Thank you, wonderful people. You know who you are.
Stick with the album then. Tell me about the process of
All right,
how that
well,
came together.
Yeah, we started this Daniel Johnson tribute kind of thing on a Monday night. Me, my friend Dom, Sam, and Age, you know, and they were they were both psychiatrists, yeah, so they're an interesting thing coming on. So we had these 3-hour sessions.
Musical psychiatrists, or
Yeah, like he can play like Ronson, Sam, and yeah, Ade's amazing on the keys, and all these little ideas that come together. And I sing, so I sing or write these songs. So
would that be Sam? What's his second name?
Vovnik.
No, another one. Yeah.
And yeah, we did an album over 13 weeks, and we're just working on the last track now. We'll be working on it on Monday, which is a few days away. But that's good. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You know, when your week's punctuated with things,
Yeah.
it's very good. It's very nourishing for the soul. Dancing at the weekend, you know, record some music on a Monday, Wednesday, meditation class, you know, etc.
And eat the one egg in the fridge.
One egg. Why do French people only have one egg for breakfast?
Because an earth's an earth.
One is an earth. Take that with you into the world.
Yeah, thank you.
Make some friends in the world of farming and dairy.
So is that one of your granddads?
No. What was theirs? These were like, what would he say? I've just seen some raisins on the. I've just seen some currants on the Blackfriars Bridge. I don't know what raisin they're there for. It was definitely along those lines, you know.
Excellent,
Yeah, you know. It was like 1917.
Go back to the album then. So technically, practically, what's the sort of mechanics of putting an album together these days?
Well, somebody will start it, say Sam, there'll be a little drum, he'll lay a guitar down, I'll have a little something, he'll send it to me. I'd heard words in it straight away and written them down, or like I've sang it over it in gibberish, and then I've turned the gibberish into a song, and that's been some of the most meaningful songs that have come out of that process. Or like we'll mention the group, do you like magazine, and I'll play like that, you know, so we'll go in that direction. Or so every time it's like the same thing as collage. You're making a piece of music, but you want it not to sound like last Monday's piece of music. This sounds more poppy, this is more psychedelic, this is more like rock, this is a bit more punk, this is a bit more new wave. So when you end up with 13 songs for an album, they're all really, really different to each other. You know, they're all. It's funny because we're right at the end, and the process has completely slowed down. We're into our 5th week on one song, you know, which is crazy long. We usually just bam, one song. Next week, bam, one song. And it's like, it's funny. Kind of might just come to an end of a kind of one of those kind of runs where the creativity might be just having to have a little stop, a little orange juice, and like a bit of a rethink, which is good because I think then the next stuff is totally different. The pictures will be totally different. The music will be totally different. Yeah.
So recorded in a professional studio?
Well, it's in a back room. It's actually in God, what's his name? Dr. Dolittle.
Right.
What's his name? Rex Harrison.
Right.
Used to live there. Yeah, Rex Harrison
Right.
used to live in there. Yeah. So it's a little back street little studio, you know, and we're just there. Everyone sat around and they all bring their bit man and they make magic music. It's my favourite music I've ever done. I've done lots of music. I've done about maybe 200 songs or something. And I've had some singles out, some albums, and
all good.
Yeah.
Coming to the end, but briefly tell me about the big German gig last year.
Whew! Yeah, that was that. Yeah, that was a bit of a wave, you know. It was. I was just got really lucky with serendipity because we had a show on. Our first show was in Hamburg. It kept getting put off because COVID was on. But excuse me a sec. So yeah, the German thing was quite a kick. We had a show in Hamburg. Lots of the original collage work. I'm talking to you and at the same time we were lucky, like serendipity. Klaus Vormann. We've had this Nosferatu thing for a few years, like even starting 24 years ago when we first met. We was having to sign all these revolver postcards, you know, it's just so sick of signing revolver postcards, you know, and we're trying to sell art, we used his art, it's amazing. Super realist paintings of the Beatles in Germany, 1961, yes please, you know. So we were like working with that for a little while, and so we'd be at signings with him. We got him and Astrid together for this one, they'd not seen each other for ages, yeah, it was beautiful. So the following morning we got a Nosferatu doll and had it waiting with a pen and said to him, this guy here is going to be signing all the revolver postcards today, and that was a big joke. And so continuous birthdays, make him a Nosferatu card or whatever. He'd sent me a pencil drawing of Nosferatu getting a blowjob off a nurse once. It's on the wall, man. Sorry, and there's like lots of writing on that. So yeah, we had a lovely friendship with him, and the final joke in the coffin was this ended up on the cover of Playboy.
Perfect.
Which is me in hospital, shaved my head, and drew these big eyebrows, and I guess I did look like Nosferatu. And it was 100 years of Nosferatu, 50 years of Jim Playboy, and so it just came together really well. And he talks about me and Honey Inside, Melissa, as she was then called, saying, oh yeah, there's some crazy creatures on this planet, and Howard and Melissa from Liverpool are two of them. They gifted a Nosferatu doll to me. And yeah, that was can't really, but that's the end of that, isn't it? And then we had another show in Lunenburg, which is a beautiful little place in Germany, and we got a catalogue for 12 Eyes that took over. So these are all Scousers. We did this, and this was massive. It was on the side of the building. It was about 18 foot tall.
Just bring that slightly closer to
about
the camera.
there.
A little bit further even. Yeah, that'll do. Nice one, yeah.
So they're all like...
And down a bit. Yeah.
They're all like Liverpool people.
Yeah.
You know, there's like Batman up there and the birds doing the bat signal, and you've got like Leonard Rossiter, Tom Baker, etc. You know.
Right. That leads beautifully into not the next question, but the one after. Next question, second last one, is what's in the pipeline? Where does it go from here?
I'm going to try and raise some money. The plan is to raise some cash from selling prints to put the record out. Maybe doing 50 kind of prints. I've done the cover's really, the cover for the album's really good. It's Darwin on a cutaway motorcycle with kind of mechanical monkeys hanging off him. Really do like it. And there's another, it'll come with its own little print. So I'm trying to get the balls rolling to raise a little bit of cash, like maybe $2,500 or something, to put together a proper nice vinyl record. I mean, in an ideal world, it'd be swirly vinyl, and it'd be a gatefold, and in an ideal world, but it's all depends whether I can get my finger out to do that. If there's anyone out there that wants to put a few grand into a happy-go-lucky 57-year-old dude, he's sat right here.
Let's go back to the Liverpool thing. So the final question, and it's one that I ask everybody. So, is there anything about the people of Liverpool or the city itself that's had an impact on your creativity?
Yeah. I mean, lots of my friends that I've met way back in 2007 and 2008, the Mellow people, like that was incredible. The having to be around a kind of bohemian crowd, like actual, hard-working artisan beatniks, putting together scene by scene, this new world. I knew I was here for something. I came a bit early. I arrived in like 98. I was like 8 years, just were really sluggish, and then suddenly, bam! It was like that bit in Yellow Submarine where the Beatles bring all the Pepperland people back to life, little eyes and that. And that just went on. I guess we were in the kind of, there's still fallout from that happening, because everyone's still friends, Amazing that a group so big can stick together. Like, the Casimir people, and, the Mellow, and now they're like Wind Factory and everything. They're like they came as kids, and they're like grown-ups with families, and they're still, holding together this creative thing. They're doing the City of Light right now. It's,
Could you put a number on the number of creatives in Liverpool that your tentacles reach out to?
I think it's probably about 333 or something. I don't know. I'd like to think it was a number like that. But it attracts people as well. Yeah. Liverpool has this electrical, supernatural hub and a collective unconscious around it that pours energy into things that get done here. And things get done here. really is a creative city.
Brilliant. Okay, well, it's been an absolute joy talking to you.
Thanks for inviting me as well, Howard. Yeah, you've made my day.
So we'll go back to October 18. I'll find that photograph of you with your red coat, and but you do remember it?
I do remember it, like it's like a Rupert the Bear scarf. That red coat I wear as Santa Claus every year. You can't put that out, it's secret. Just blank it when I say it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's us done. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Howard. Nice one. Brilliant.
Thank you.